Today is January 8, 2015, and if you clicked on this video and thought to yourself, wow, that is a really extreme title, you are correct. However, we are living in very extreme times. There is more that happens in 1 week right now than used to happen in a year. There are so many big stories that occur multiple times a day now. It used to be there'd be about one big story a week that would distract the public. Now, there are so many big stories that there is a big story in the afternoon that will distract the public from the big story that occurred in the morning. Now, I was on the phone a little earlier today, and we started talking about this internet censorship crap they want to pull on us. And needless to say, I got very upset after having this telephone conversation, and this person suggested what they'll end up doing is they'll have a login and a password to log on to the internet. Now, what that means is they'll be able to take everything you do. So let's say you're on good standing. If you say something they don't like, they could then say, oh, well, you're banned for the internet for a week, or you're banned for a day, or you're banned for life, or whatever it is they decide to do. This is all about internet censorship. And part of the reason why I am so upset over all of this is because right now, all over the TV, you have all these American leaders and international leaders who are telling us how this shooting that happened in France yesterday was an attack on free speech. The people who want to take away our free speech are telling us that the shooting was an attack on free speech. When they say free speech, they are talking about the government, because this government that we are living under, they believe that the Bill of Rights are their rights. It's the rights they get to have. But in reality, what it really is, it's the rights the people get to have, and it tells us the rights the government does not get to have. So when they say freedom of speech, or if speech is being threatened, they're really referring to their own speech. And this person I spoke with over the phone made a very interesting point. He said that, isn't it interesting that all these big attacks are now happening on entertainment and media type companies? We have the Sony hack, which was a big fraud. Now we have this shooting over in France, which I'm not saying whether or not it's a fraud. Of course, people are already saying it's a fraud, even though it just barely happened yesterday. You have to at least give it a little more time before you can say it's a full-blown fraud. But either way, they're going to find a way to try to use this against us like they do with everything. So right here it says on February 26th, the FCC will be holding a net neutrality vote. So an unelected corporation will be deciding the future of the internet, at least from the beginning. So now I will admit that I do not know a lot about this net neutrality and FCC stuff, but what I do know is I know the end game. The end game is to have Chinese-style internet censorship in America. That means no YouTube, no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, basically no social media at all. And you need to tell your congresspeople that you are not in support of this, and we need to push back and tell these people that we do not want our internet to become unfree, because that's what this is all really about. Currently, the internet is free, and the government wants to come in and change that, because remember, anytime the government comes into anything, healthcare, Department of Motor Vehicles, the post office, you name any time the government has had an intervention in any industry, the industry has then failed, gone into massive debt, and essentially collapsed. And do you think that'll be any different for the internet if they come in and put in their controls? They want to control something that is already free, which by definition means it will no longer be free. And what does it mean when there's no more free internet? That means people like me will no longer have a voice. And what does that mean for everybody else? Well, for one, everyone that's on the internet right now that has a voice, if they take that down and we completely lose our ability to speak, we will become average, regular Joe Schmoes. Now, I am an average, regular Joe Schmo, but I have a voice because anytime I have an opinion on anything now, at least a few hundred people will get to watch it and spread it around and tell others about what I had just said. That will end if they have full-blown internet censorship controls. Now, the real reason why this is so concerning to me and why this makes me so upset is because if they actually censor the internet fully, ban YouTube, ban all the social media, we will become our own lone wolves. We will be by ourselves because right now we are spread out all over the country, and it is the internet that is connecting us. If we all become lone wolves, Joe Schmoes, who no longer have a voice, you better believe they will start knocking people off. Now, I probably will not be in the first round of it, but I guarantee you the Alex Joneses of the world, the Dabu Sevens of YouTube, they will be in the first round. They will be murdered if this is allowed to go through. And why do I say that? Because this is the equivalent of book burning. Just imagine if the millions and millions of articles that are on the internet that make our point, if they suddenly get disappeared, censored, or completely just erased from the internet. All of that history, all those things that we have said, all those discoveries that we have made, they will be gone, and it'll just be part of the dustbin of history. It'll be hearsay, it'll be rumor, it'll just be urban legend. We cannot have that. That's why if you do watch Alex Jones, one of the great things they do is they print out every article that they showcase on the radio and on the website, so they have a massive library of information. But like I said, they will no longer be connected to us unless, of course, which I have heard, is that there are people who are currently in development trying to figure out workarounds if the internet does become censored. However, of course, that becomes extremely dangerous because, as I said, they will be killing people. They will be knocking people off because they do not want us speaking out. Now, why is this all happening right now? I made a video, actually a series of videos a while back, not really saying predictions, but just kind of speculating what I see in the near future. 2015 is the year. And the reason for that is because 2016 is an election year. And if we actually have these elections, once again, the politicians will have to be on their best behavior. And so what I believe we are going to see is we are going to see the full attempted hard takeover of the Communist Party in America. And I'm not saying socialists. I'm not saying Democrats. I am saying communists. Barack Hussein Obama is a communist. He is a red diaper baby. Go look that up if you don't know what it means. Mayor de Blasio in New York, he is a full-blown communist. Another red diaper baby. Hillary Clinton is a communist. Jeb Bush is a communist. These people are all communists masquerading as Republicans and Democrats. Now, what we have been seeing in the cities in New York and on the West Coast and in Ferguson specifically, we're seeing the attempted communist hard takeover. A Bolshevik revolution has been occurring in our streets. Now, this was attempted about 3 or 4 years ago during the Occupy movement. That's exactly what it was. It was a communist attempted revolution. And fortunately, it ended. The weather was what really saved us, because once it got too cold, they went back into their houses. And that's what we are seeing again. But the reason why I am making this point is because these groups, they are going for it. They are going for it all. And the internet censorship is a huge part of it. That is the book burning. And so one of the reasons why I am making this video is because the people on YouTube who have big followings, who have a big voice, you need to say exactly what I am saying, because your life depends on it. You need to get people mobilized, have them calling their congresspeople, because we cannot allow them to hold this vote and to vote on our future of the internet. And so I've already gone long, but a couple things I want to show real quick. This is from 2010. New law will require a license to be a journalist. A license is a permission from the government. A permit is making something that is normally a right into a privilege. Being a journalist in America is a right. It is not a privilege. And of course, if they actually were to have licensing, the government will then determine who gets to become a journalist. Now, I will never apply for a journalist license, because the First Amendment says freedom of speech shall never be abridged, which means no laws can be made getting rid of free speech. But if I actually did decide I wanted to get the license to be a journalist, they will look and see, oh, this is Grindall61. He speaks out against the government. Access denied. Now, the reason why I am showing you this, because it shows you what they want to do. This was 5 years ago they wanted to do this. So you think that it has suddenly changed? That they're not going to want to try to do this? Of course they're going to try to do this. That's why we have all these hacks going on with all these big corporations, because they want it to happen enough times and have their big poster child, who I thought would be Jennifer Lawrence a few months back, but they want to have their big poster child who everyone will fall for, and then everybody will get behind internet controls and internet censorship, because we got to protect the internet from these hackers. Ladies and gentlemen, the people doing the hacking are the ones that are going to benefit from this more than anybody. It is within this government that is doing the hacking. Now, one of the points I wanted to make earlier is who benefits from internet controls? The American people surely do not, because it is because of the internet why the American people are slowly waking up. The American people will go back into their trance. They will go back to sleep if the internet is completely controlled. That does not benefit us. That only benefits the government. That in itself should be the reason why you are against this, because it does not benefit you. It only benefits the government. So here's one more. This is from our senator in California, Dianne Feinstein. Senators trying to narrow definition of journalist in Media Shield law. They want to redefine a journalist as someone who has a permit and is working for the government. They want to set up Pravda the way they had it in the Soviet Union. Total state-run media. We already have state-run media in this country, but they do not admit it. They will be admitting it, that they have state-run media in this country, if you allow them to have this kind of language. Now, I know I've been rambling and I've said a lot because, as I said earlier, I'm very upset right now after this conversation I had where we talked about the internet censorship. But this is very important. This is one of the most important issues of our lifetime, because the internet is the only thing that keeps America somewhat free. America is not a free country. America has fallen to tyranny. They want to restrict free speech. They want to take away the First Amendment. If you protest in America, they will arrest you. They want to censor the internet so that people like me cannot get the message out of truth. They want to take our ability away to defend ourselves. They do not want us having guns, while at the same time, they're the ones buying guns, stockpiling weapons, stockpiling all kinds of stuff. You see, they want to say that you're crazy when you stockpile food and you stockpile gold and silver and you stockpile guns and ammunition. They want to call you crazy. Well, who's doing it more than anybody? Our government, the United States. They are the most paranoid entity on the face of the earth. They are buying more weapons, more ammunition, more food supplies than anybody in the entire world. They want to completely eliminate the Fourth Amendment. They spy on us. They read our emails. They completely collect all of our data, all of our phone calls, all of our text messages. They want to take everything away from us. They have taken our Fifth Amendment away from us by setting up checkpoints, by setting up the TSA, by taking away our ability to incriminate ourselves. They have taken away trial by jury as a result of the war on drugs, because you have these overly ambitious district attorneys who tell people that they can either take 50 years in jail if they have a trial, or they can just plead guilty and only get 5 years. And most people do not take the trial because they are afraid of spending the rest of their lives in jail. That is taking away our due process. They want to take away our protections against cruel and unusual punishment. That's why they released this whitewash torture report. They want it to be in our psyche that this is what America does and that it's okay. They did not bring this torture report out to end torture. They brought it out to put it in the public scope that this is what America does. They have taken away all of our states' rights. They say the federal government supersedes anything the states do. We live under a tyranny, and the internet is the only thing that still gives us an opportunity to spread information and to tell people that don't know anything what's really going on. Do you really want to lose that? So I'm going to finish up. Please spread this video. Please tell everyone you know about this. And if you have a big YouTube channel, you need to speak the way I am speaking because your life literally depends on it. There is a communist takeover going on in this country. It is a hard takeover. The soft takeover is complete. And if they have their way, they will murder you. So that's all for now. Grindall61 signing out.
I brought up the subject of what's going to happen after we take over the government. We become responsible then for administrating, 250 million people. And there was no answers. No one had given any thought to economics. How are you going to clothe and feed these people? The only thing that I could get was that they expected that the Cubans and the North Vietnamese and the Chinese and the Russians would all want to occupy different portions of the United States. They also believed that their immediate responsibility would be to protect against what they called the counter-revolution. And they felt that this counter-revolution could best be guarded against by creating and establishing re-education centers in the Southwest, where we would take all the people who needed to be re-educated into the new way of thinking and teach them how things were going to be. I ask, well, what is going to happen to those people that we can't re-educate, that are die-hard capitalists? And the reply was that they'd have to be eliminated. And when I pursued this further, they estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill. 25 million people. Now, I want you to imagine sitting in a room with 25 people, most of which have graduate degrees from Columbia and other well-known educational centers, and hear them figuring out the logistics for the elimination of 25 million people. And they were dead serious.